He did a few of them, actually. He's done 2 or 3 walks across Canada. His accomplishments are in this flyer, and I'm sure he'll be happy to give you one if you want. He got the gift of life, a liver transplant in 1997, and he did a walk from Toronto to Ottawa. He lives in Toronto. I'm not sure if he walked here this morning. Did you walk here this morning, George?
No, I retired.
He also did a 2,500 kilometer walk, 96 days, following a liver-shaped route across the province of Ontario, and a 769-day walk throughout Canada. And his goal here today is to get 20,000 names. 20,000 names who would donate their organs in the case somebody like him would need them again. Now, I don't know about you, but I personally like to recycle. I chase the recycling truck every Thursday morning, and I'm one of the rare people that has signed the back of my driver's license because maybe my organs could save somebody. But George was just telling me that even if you people, how many people have done that, signed the back of the driver's license? Now, did you know that if you are in an accident or something, the organ donation people will go to your family, and then they have to agree to it. And in that instance, only 60% of those people who signed their license can actually donate their organs because their families have second thoughts. So the way to get around that is to actually sign up to do that. So we've got a place for you to sign up today. George's goal is to do 20,000. He thinks that Welland can be the place to start it in Ontario and then across Canada. And we don't have a deadline. Our deadline is not time, it's how many signatures. 20,000. So it's my pleasure to introduce to you George Marcello, the CEO founder of Step by Step from Toronto. Round of applause for George.
Good morning. First of all, I want to thank everybody for attending here this morning. We did put this event together. We didn't have really that much time, so what we're looking at this is going to be the first step of many steps. Our immediate goal, as Paul mentioned, is to get 20,000 names from the city of Welland to support organ and tissue donations, and we feel that Welland is the city to do that. We feel that through our 6 years of traveling in Welland, that we can accomplish this feat. And after we accomplish it, it's going to have a ripple effect right across the country, because we're going to make sure that the rest of the country knows what happened here in Welland. So in the next coming months, we're going to try and gather as many resources as possible to get this done. The name of our new campaign is called SOS4000. And the 4,000 signifies the number of people in Canada right now that are waiting for organ transplants. And I guess most of the people here remember Kristopher, who walked across Canada last year. On a happy note, he completed the walk, but on a sadder note, he's still on the waiting list. And that's sort of a reflection of what's still going on in our country. So. We're hoping that, actually we know that Welland can do this. What do you think, Paul?
I think so.
I think so too. And we have the paper here for you if you haven't signed your name here to sign up here. And there's a lot more speakers here that will tell you a little bit more about this initiative. And once again, I want to thank everybody for coming to this very important event. Thank you.
Thank you, George. And of course, George, living proof that organ donations and tissue donations work. So please sign up there. I know I'm going to. All right, next up is Michael Belcastro and Stacy Simmons, Manager and Public Relations Director here at the Seaway Mall, who have been nice enough to let us use their facilities this morning and put out the nice breakfast.
Thanks. I'd also like to thank everybody for coming to the mall this morning. When I first met George and he explained what his mission was, it was very touching for us, and that's when we decided to back George in his quest, his new quest going forward. And if you've ever had the chance to sit down with George and talk to him, about his experiences in the last 4 or 5 years. I'm telling you, you'll be really impressed and really touched. And you understand how much this means to him and to the 4,000 people in Canada that are out there waiting for an organ. And we're proud to be behind you, and we're proud to do anything that you need us to do. And thank you for choosing our mall, and more so, with my other hat on as a politician, thank you for choosing our city of Welland to kick off your campaign. And I'm sure the citizens of Welland will come forward and sign that petition, and I'm sure we'll get those 20,000 names in a real hurry. Stacey, thank you.
Thank you. What can I say? I met George. I think I was on board here with the mall as the marketing coordinator for about 5 days. Brand new, but you know, George's story has a really big impact. You know, and I've really learned a lot. Like, I have my card that I signed, you know, with my driver's license, thinking that, you know, my organs would go to somebody who needed them, and apparently that's not always the case. And the other thing I really learned through the process of organizing this and working with George and talking to people is that this affects a lot of people. You know, we've got people who I work with who I didn't realize had family members waiting for organs. So, you know, this affects a lot of people, and I really hope that we're going to be able to make a difference here. And we're going to continue to work with George, so there's going to be things that are going to be coming up. And I just want to let you know that we will have a petition at customer service that people can come and sign. So we'll get this thing rolling, and we'll get those 20,000 signatures. Thank you.
Thank you, Stacey. And one thing George and I were talking about is we do have a federal election coming up. And it's not an issue. It does not seem to be an issue as far as liver and tissue donations go. However, I have heard them talking about wait times for procedures in the hospital. So maybe we should just get them to expand that. Wait times as well as donation times. Okay. Next up, we have Henry Botchford, and he's the COO of Step by Step, a liver transplant recipient and past president of some of the biggest charities in Canada, and he'll tell you about some of his fundraising activities in the documentaries.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank you for coming out today. We hope to be doing this, as George said, in every mall across Canada. So, at each of those malls, we're going to say it started right here at Freeway Mall and in the city of Welland. I read a newspaper article a few months ago about George talking about his passion, what he had been doing, what he wanted to do, what he planned to do. And I myself am a liver transplant recipient 8 years ago. Turned out on the same doctors in the same hospital as George received his 2 livers. I've never met anybody that's received 2 livers, but you talk about a wonderful luck to be able to do that. He started this program really 8 years ago on a walk across Ontario to thank an unknown family at the time, an unknown family who had the kindness and the bravery to donate their loved ones' organs. I joined George for the same reason. I'm trying to thank those who had the kindness and bravery to donate my liver. Both of us would not be here now had we not gone through this process. It's a wonderful miracle to be able to say that science can do this. Now the rest is up to you. One of my reasons for joining George only a few months ago is to help him establish a national fundraising base. George has been going across the country on a shoestring. There are no national sponsors, no major national sponsors. There were times he was eating tuna fish out of a can because he didn't have the money really to know where his next meal was coming from. He kept on walking. He kept on walking. Well, you know what? We're going to be looking for national sponsorship, major corporations support, major foundation support. We've got to find a way to get financial stability to Step by Step, because there's 4,000 people can be saved. And if you could save them, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you save those 4,000 people? They can be saved, and not just saved, cured. When you have a transplant, you are cured of disease. It's a wonderful, wonderful thing. So please think about it. Please talk to your family. We're also going to be making a major made-for-television documentary in the next number of months. It'll be nationally televised. It'll be probably an hour documentary on George, on the vision of Step by Step, and on the future of transplant and tissue donations in Canada. We are probably the second worst country in the world. Think about this, in the world, in terms of donating organs. Second worst in the world. Canada should not be the worst of anything in the world. And we certainly shouldn't be letting those 4,000 people die, and they will, unless we do something about it. So thank you again for coming. Make sure you talk to your people about your wishes in terms of donating organs, and wish George well on his journey for the next 2 years. And we thank the City of Welland, and we thank Seaway Welland.
Thank you. We don't want to trip up our speakers here. So next, with our federal greetings, is our local MP, John Maloney. He's wearing red.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. It's a real honor to be here and be in full support of Step by Step. As been mentioned earlier, in Canada there are roughly 3,700 people waiting for a liver transplant, a kidney transplant, heart transplant, or lung transplant. And there are thousands more waiting for a cornea transplant, skin grafts, and bone grafts as well. That's a lot of people. Sadly, last year we lost roughly 147 people who were waiting for transplant. It didn't come, a matching donor didn't come within the time. And one of the reasons for this is that Canada has the lowest donor card list. And as a consequence, there aren't that many people out there who are providing transplant authorizations, but they could be. In fact, there are over 45% that polling have indicated that they support transplant donations, but they haven't yet signed up. So the message I leave for you today is consider signing a card, make the decision to sign that card, and in fact, sign that card. Here today is possible. And it certainly will be considered a gift to the recipient of that. Here we're in the Christmas season, and gifting is so much a part of our festivities. So I encourage you to give the gift of life to some individual who certainly needs it. Even for the donors' families, they feel good that another individual is carrying on life that their loved one did not, and it makes them feel good as well. So in conclusion, please sign up, give them the gift of life. You feel better for it, and so will the families who will be receiving it. Thank you. Oh, just a minute. If you don't get 20,000 signatures in the city of Welland, there's called a federal riding of Welland that goes south to Port Colborne, north to Thorold, and south St. Catharines. And if you're a little short, George, I encourage you to go north and south, and I think you're familiar with both those communities, and you're going to get your 20,000 for sure.
That's a good point, actually. As a broadcaster, Welland is very central to southern Ontario because although we're in a Welland situation, we consider ourselves a St. Catharines, and Niagara Falls, Niagara on the Lake, Hamilton, Burlington, Oakville radio station, as well as across the border. We have listeners in Rochester and Buffalo. So this is a good place. It is sort of the hub of the universe, I guess, as far as trade goes. So that's why we built the Welland Canal. All right, next is we have representing MPP Peter Cormos with our provincial greetings, Marie Chamberlain Odo, who was up very early this morning. 5 o'clock, I think, wasn't it?
Good morning. Peter sends his regrets at not being able to be here with you this morning. He's at Queen's Park today, where he's putting in long hours to try and get as much done as possible before Christmas break. But he's here with you today in spirit and remains inspired by folks like George Marcello and young Kristopher Knowles. For Peter, they're remarkable representatives of the thousands of Canadians whose names fill the waiting lists for organ and tissue transplant. And their efforts through Step by Step, the Canada 769-day walk, and Kristopher's wish shaped Peter's will to draft Bill 156, a private member's bill aimed at overcoming the hurdle created when people forget to sign their organ donor cards. That may be down, but it's not over. We're still fighting on that. On behalf of Peter Cormus, I extend best wishes as you kick off this campaign to raise awareness of the need for organ and tissue donation.
And now our Vice Mayor, Councillor Mark Zugan, representing the city.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. It truly is my pleasure in my capacity as Vice Mayor to represent Mayor Damien Goulburn this morning and other members of City Council. I spoke just the other week on a similar type of issue on how everybody in Welland comes together for times of needy people, any type of devastation, and hopefully for a project like George that you're involved in here today, and also the good work that Kristopher has done. I've had the opportunity of meeting these people a little while ago when they came through Welland when Kristopher was walking at Notre Dame High School. And they're still going, and Kristopher is still waiting for his transplant. A good cross-section of people need these types of organs and tissues and all of these other types of transplants. But when I look at this table here and the kids playing in the arcade, that's really what I look at, are the young ones. And for the young ones to wait right at the beginning of their lives, I think it's a travesty. But I think that in a community like ours here in Welland, I think that your wish will come true, and you will get the signatures that you need. So once again, thank you very much, and thanks again, just like Councilor Del Castro said, for choosing our city to kick this off, and you couldn't have made a better choice. Thank you very much.
And next we have Mel Davies, Director of Step by Step from Guelph, and he's the father of our late Olympian champion swimmer Victor, who donated his organs. That's a fair drive in this morning for you from Guelph. I think pretty much everybody here did a bit of a commute for this cause.
Quite right. Anyway, on November the 11th, 1989, I got the phone call that all parents really dread, that my son had been in an accident. And as a result of that accident, he passed away. Well, we made a decision back then that we would donate his organs. Actually, we were asked by the doctor, the coordinator in St. Notre Dame Hospital in Montreal. And he asked us to consider organ donation, which we did. And as a result of that, a 52-year-old man got Victor's heart. Two 36-year-old men got Victor's kidneys. A 32-year-old woman got Victor's liver. And his corneas went, I think, into the Toronto area. And as a result today, all five are alive, with the exception of the young woman. She passed away about 2 years ago. Everybody else is still alive today. Now the thing I want to make a little point up here, when the gentleman that got Victor's heart, he was 52 years old at the time he got Victor's heart. I was 52 years old at the time. And I was really, thought that was really kicking the pants. Victor's heart didn't go to someone a little bit younger. But he's still alive today. And I'm here too. So what Paul has said and previous speakers have said, sign your card, sign your license. But I think the most important thing is you have to tell your family. You have to tell your family, your mom, your dad, your wife, your husband, your brother, your sister, your kids, that you want your organs donated regardless of what the heck the law is. We know that George is trying to get that Bill 166 going through. I don't think it's going to go through. But you've got to let your mom, your dad, your family know, and your friends, that if anything happens to you, you want your organs donated. Because it does work. And I've seen the results, and I know that for example, on the way down here, I was talking to Bruce Smith, that I had gone to the World Transplant Games in London, Ontario this August. And every recipient in those games were organ recipients. Every athlete in those games were all organ recipients. And I'll tell you, that was really something to see. There was 1,500 people that are all alive today because someone, some family, had donated their organs. So don't forget, sign the card, sign your driver's license. Most of all, tell your family that this is what you want to do in case something happens to you. Thanks, Ken.
That's good advice. That's something I meant to mention. You should tell your family about it too, because that's 60% of people that sign their cards, and then the family says no. We all watched the Grey Cup, I guess, the past weekend. How can you watch the Grey Cup without thinking about Angelo Mosca, the world-famous Hamilton Tiger Cat? We're going to have him here today, but he had knee surgery, and he's still recovering from that. But he now lives on Niagara-on-the-Lake, and he donated his wife's eyes. So I'm sure he would have had some good words, but we sent our best wishes out to his knee recovery, Angelo Mosca. Next on our list is the director of SXS from Welland, who lost his sister waiting for a kidney. Put your hands together for Mr. Joe Malika. And we've got a donation jar down here too that Joe was telling me about. I'm sure you'll tell more about it, won't you?
Thanks, Paul. Yes, there is a donation jar here, and appreciate nickels and dimes. That's all we want, quarters maybe. I'd like to thank Mike Belcastro and Stacy Simmons. When I approached Mike about 2 months ago about this mission, he jumped for joy. He said Welland would be the nucleus of the SOS4000. And I couldn't figure out what SOS meant until I found out that that was the way it was spelled during the war. A message was sent on a machine. What kind of machine was it, Paul? Morse code. And it meant help 4,000 people across Canada who needed organs. I want to congratulate you both. Thank you very much for all your help. George, I appreciate all the work you've done for this campaign, and Kristopher, and all your support. Thank you ever so much.
And thank you for all of your work, Joe. All right, young man who's walked across Canada and from Sarnia, and he needs a liver transplant, Kristopher Knowles.
Hi. I'd just like to thank everybody out for coming out today to support SOS4000, Christopher's Wish, Step by Step, all those other campaigns we've done. It's a great cause that we're doing, and I just hope that everybody gets out there and signs their organ donor cards and makes everybody aware about organ and tissue donation. The only words I have to say is please don't take your organs to heaven. Heaven knows we need them here. Thank you, and thanks for coming out.
We could have a future politician on our hands, I think. Good speaker for a young man. All right, we have some check presentations to make. And one of the first ones is Daniel Peet, who's the president of District 22 Niagara, Ontario Secondary School Teachers Federation. So Daniel, all the guest speakers up. We want a photo op too, do we? Okay. Here's the check. So maybe we'll have all the speakers, those who were just up here, to come forward. You want everybody on the podium? Okay, and then maybe the check in front.
Never was asked.
Yeah, come on up on the podium, I think. Sure. Yeah, we haven't heard from Bruce Smith. Maybe we'll let Bruce Smith speak while we get organized for the photo. How would that be? And Bruce is an ex-Argo captain, now a chaplain from Toronto. And you want to say a few words, Bruce? And hold up the check. Okay, can everybody see the camera?
I want to thank all the folks up here for undertaking this campaign in Welland. Two reasons that got me involved were, one, I was in Peter Cornwell's office and I saw one of these posters, and I asked Peter's assistant if she could send me posters for all our schools here in the District School Board of Niagara. And then I got a call from George Marcello and Joe Malika, and they got me involved. And the other reason, and I think you'll hear from her later on this morning, is I was a teacher at Eastdale Secondary School a few years ago when one of my students was tragically killed in an accident just at the end of school. And he was an organ donor. His name was Brandon Hibbard, and his mother Lisa Horvath and his stepfather are here today, and I think you'll hear from them later on. So we'll be going over to Eastdale Secondary School with Kristopher and his dad after this assembly here, so that the kids at Eastdale can become a little bit more aware of what happened from the tragedy that happened to Brandon. Actually helped a lot of people.
We have another presentation from the Catholic Teachers Federation, Joe McDonald.
You know what to do? You want to take over? You know what to do?
So I think that's another photo op, isn't it?
You'll never find anybody more steadier than me.
Yeah, look, you're putting your fingers all over.
Don't worry about it. Let it go. You gotta let it go. Is it on?
All right, come on up,
Can you
sir.
hear me? About a mic there. You got the zoom in? Look, the zoom in, the zoom out. See it?
Just hold it straight. Do a good job.
You get the face. What do you got?
All right, thank you. And Rovanda Holmes here as a presentation.
Who, Joe? Kelly.
I think that's it for the presentations, isn't it? We didn't miss anybody? Is there anyone else? Okay. Is there a carry? No? Okay. Well, I think we're at our conclusion then. have an announcement? Come on up. Okay.
The toilets are. There's Henry, look. Henry in the seat. See that?
I just wanted to announce this. We had about 10,000 of these bracelets made up. You know, they're just a representation that you support this. And it says on there, I support organ and tissue donations. And we're going to be selling them throughout the mall over the Christmas season and onwards. They'll be available throughout many stores and at customer service for $2. So just wanted to announce that we have these. And if you don't have one, come on and get one from me, and we'll start wearing these and show our support. Thanks.
Okay, we have one more speaker, and it's a sad story. I don't even know your name. What is your name? Lisa Horvath. Okay, Lisa Horvath, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm just here today because I want everybody to know how important it is to sign your card. When my son was 8, he signed his organ donor card, and when he was 15, he was killed. And all of his organs have been donated. They're in Vancouver, they're in Buffalo, they're in Toronto, and a lot of people have been helped by him. And it's very important because it's the best thing you can do, because at least it carries them on farther. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That is a good way of having a loved one live on forever, isn't it? Okay, let's try once again to get Chaplain Bruce Smith up. Are you going to come up? An ex-Argo captain, now a chaplain. I tell you, everybody's going to show up at his church. If they don't show up at church, do you come to their house?
Actually, the first team I played for were the Tiger Cats, which you're probably familiar with. Actually, second to Angelo Mosca and our teammates. We sort of had a deal back then that I would donate him my knees, and he would give me his heart. So I still have my knees, and he still has his heart. But that's why I'm here, and he's not here today. I met George when he first kicked off his campaign. As a matter of fact, this is my second time in Welland. And when I met George, I'm one of these kind of guys who's always a suspicion about people. Wasn't alive. This man's life has made a difference. So much so that George has had 2 organ transplants. Now I believe the reason is because his purpose is so important that God made sure he stayed alive to fulfill it. There's a passage of scripture that always pulls me. It said if your left hand offended you, take it off. If your right foot offends you, cut it off. If your right eye offends, pluck it out. I always wondered about that scripture, and I realized something. You can cut it off, or you can give it away, because when you get to heaven, you won't need it. You'll get a new one. But if you give it away, when someone passes away, that person can still live on through the other person. This is the one thing that most people would like to do if they were just simply given a chance. Many people die wanting to give their organs away and never get the chance because somebody didn't sign them up. The system needs help, and anyone here that's here today, you can make a difference by signing an organ donation card. You can make a difference by signing a petition. You being here can make a difference. I think many times we don't do something because there's such a big problem. What can I do? Well, one person, look at George, one person can make the difference. Chris is making a difference. You can make a difference. Question is, will you? Well, you won't if you don't sign your card, and you won't if you won't sign the petition. Now, my real job is to counsel people. I'm George's spiritual coach, and George will tell you I don't do anything without prayer, because if I don't, then I won't get a ring. So I have to pray. I just want to bless you and thank God for you coming out today. Father, we just want to thank you for today. Thank you for the town of Welland. thank you for the people of Welland, but like I can tell these people have a concern and a passion for people. I ask your blessing over Welland. I ask your blessing over the mayor. I ask your blessing over everyone here today. I ask your blessing on those who have lost loved ones. And I thank you for the courage of those who have signed organ donation cards so others can live on and fulfill their purpose. I ask your blessing on Step by Step and George's crew. And I ask a special blessing on Chris and on George. May they fulfill your purpose and hope to help others fulfill theirs. I ask this in your son's name, amen.
Thank you, well said. All right, and we can sign up now, can't we? That's the list right there in front of me on the stage, isn't it, George? Okay. Let's have a round of applause for George for putting all of this together. And of course for our good friends at the Seaway Mall. And the volunteers. And our speakers and our politicians. Any predictions in the upcoming election? Never mind, okay. So on behalf of 91.7 Giant FM, I'm Paul Wainwright. It's a pleasure to be here. I'll be on the air from 2 to 7 today, and I'll be talking about everybody here today. So spread the word. Thank you, and have a good Christmas, and we'll think about you. So you're kicking this off at the Seaway Mall. Maybe when you got your 20 names, you can come back and announce it here. All right. Thanks, and have a good morning.
What's that thing flashing?
This thing?
I don't know, I never seen that before. Oh.